Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about groups and organizations, a key concept in corporate communication in both educational and professional environments. Working in the groups is a common and necessary part of achieving goals. However, whether a group succeed or fall often depend on how it's structured, how members communicate, and the role people play. Let's start by looking at the two main types of groups. First, we have formal groups, which are created by organization to carry out specific tasks. Examples include project teams, departments, or committee. These groups have clear goals and structure. Then there are informal groups which form naturally based on personal relationship, common interests, or social connection. These may not have a clear task, but they still play a big role in workplace culture and communication. Both types of groups influence how people interact and how effectively they work together. Next, I would like to discuss the roles within a group and the norms that shape behavior. In any group, members usually take on different roles. Some people focus on completing tasks. These are called task roles, such as leader, recorder, or coordinator. Others focus on maintaining harmony. These are social roles, like encourager or supporter. But not all roles are positive. Some members take on dysfunctional roles that can harm the group, like the dominator who talk over others, or the blocker who resists every idea. In addition to roles, every group develop norms. These are shared expectations about behavior, such as how decisions are made, how conflicts is handled, or how people communicate. These norms may be spoken or unspoken, but they strongly affect how a group functions. Now, let's talk about group cohesiveness, the strength of the relationship between group members. A cohesive group often works better because members trust each other and are motivated. However, too much cohesiveness can lead to a problem called groupthink, where members avoid conflicts or new ideas just to keep the peace. This can result in poor decisions because people stop questioning ideas critically. Let me share a personal example to reflect on these theories. Last year, I worked as a teaching assistant at a language center. I was part of a team that planned quickly speaking activity for students. We were a formal group with a clear goal, but we also formed informal bonds through our daily cooperation. In that group, I took on a task role by designing the activities. One of my teammates took a social role. They were great at motivating others and keeping the mood positive. However, we also have one member who consistently reject other suggestions and try to control discussions. This was clearly a dysfunctional role, the dominator. Over time, the rest of us become quiet and stop offering ideas. Looking back, this was an early sign of a groupthink. We were avoiding conflict instead of addressing the problem. This experience taught me how important it is to recognize group growth, set clear norms, and speak up when we need it, especially in educational or work-based teams. To conclude, groups are essential part of organization life, but to function effectively, groups need structure, open communication, balanced role, and a healthy level of cohesiveness. Understanding these elements help us work better with others and avoiding common groups problem. Before I finish, I would like to ask, have you ever worked in the group where one person's behavior affected the whole team? And how did your group respond? Thank you for listening.